OCD?
Or obsessive compulsive disorder is categorized by the DSM-5 as recurrent and persistent thoughts known as obsessions, accompanied by repetitive behaviors or compulsions the person must perform in response to distress or to prevent some perceived dreaded event. These compulsions are excessive, time-consuming, and physically, socially, and emotionally disruptive. Fortunately, those diagnosed can seek treatment with cognitive behavioral therapy.
I really love the fast cuts to emphasize her anxiety. I think the editing was done very well. I really loved the exploration of the cultural differences and how people from certain ethnic backgrounds outside of the US have like a stigmatism against mental illness. I know for me, coming from a Ghanaian background to an African background, like it was also very stigmatized for a hot second. And I know it still goes on to this day. So I think this was a very sad but accurate representation of that. So I thought that was great. And like, the mom blaming Western medicine and like all that jazz. So I thought that was really done well. And I really loved how the definition of OCD, as the woman was like explaining it in the class, kind of lined up with everything that the lead character was doing. So I thought that was great. And overall, I thought this was a really great short. I think it was a great way to showcase the disorder and kind of put an emphasis on it in a really great way.
It tied in a couple of really important themes when it comes to OCD in a very quick and to the point way. It shows the overwhelming fear and necessity to complete their actions that people have with OCD, and it shows the impact on their mental health with the anxiety of doing it around other people and drawing attention to themselves. And the physical health, her knuckles were all bruised and bloody, and it shows how people, especially families, don't understand and write off mental health, dismissing her as just being tired.
To me, it felt like a really great PSA for OCD, public service announcement. And it was literally like, if not 2 minutes, it was just under 2 minutes. And it had so much great content packed in here, like what the OCD can look like physically, like what are the like knocking on the desk, and what to do to get help, like what would benefit people with it. Just such great quality and great content and great pacing.
I loved how the running theme of OCD was played throughout the short, from her tapping the tables, the various shots of her family's deaths, the fires, all connected to what she's actually feeling deep inside as this disorder really takes over her life. The acting was pretty well executed, the directing, the writing, each were exceptionally well done. I loved the back and forth between the classroom and the family dinner time, sort of contradicting what the teacher and the mother is saying. This was a really well done film, not too long, but it gets the message across quite quickly. I also loved how we get to see the side of a family who doesn't really or necessarily take the disorder of OCD seriously, as this is a common theme in several households today, where people don't necessarily understand what it means and instead hides it underneath the table. So great job in the execution.
I really liked the shift between the scenes that illustrated the character's experience with OCD, while also explaining it. I think it was a really creative way of capturing the societal, the medical, the personal experiences in a really short amount of time, but in a really effective, illustrative way that creates empathy and also a sense of hope. It's definitely a great awareness video that I think a lot of people could benefit from watching, to kind of see the condition explored visually and perhaps a more tangible way if they're not familiar with what it is.
Although it is very brief in duration, it tells the story clearly and succinctly. The editing was quite clever, with quick transitions between the family scene and the lecture hall scene. The performances of the cast members were awesome, lots of quiet and subtle facial reactions. The camera work was also quite effective, especially the close-up shots of the main character's movements. Excellent pace and direction. I was impressed by the size of the production team in the credits.